So the night before the Calgary show, I write this letter to Josh and Tyler, like super, super heartfelt letter with like a lot of personal stuff in it and like stuff I'm not gonna say on this right now, obviously. But I was like sobbing while writing it. Like it was full of stuff that I like had never said out loud to myself before, let alone anyone else. It was just stuff that I wanted them to know, I guess. I'm not sure why, but yeah. And I didn't even know if I would have a chance to like give it to a crew member to give it to them, but I took it anyway. So the morning of the Calgary show, my mom woke me up at about 4:45 a.m. I packed my bag with like snacks and my makeup and extra clothes and basically stuff I would need to get through the day. And I get to the venue at about 7 a.m. There's only about 20 people ahead of me in line. And so I sit down and I put my headphones in and I listen to music for a couple hours because I go insane if I'm not constantly listening to music. There was a group of high school girls who were sitting next to me and they asked me if I wanted to play Cards Against Humanity with them, so I was like, sure, why not? And so I hung out with them until about 2 o'clock, which is when Talon showed up. At about 4, we saw Andrew, who was like at the front of the line. So we go up there and we talk to him for literally about like 2.5 hours. And before we know it, it was like 6:30 and the doors were about to open. So at this point, I am like buzzing because I look back at the line and it's like, oh my god, like insane. Like it filled a parking lot and it was a big parking lot. Like it was just insane. And I like look back at the front and I'm like, we have such a good spot. Like there's only like 20 people ahead of us. Like we're like it's like gonna be lit. So when the doors open, people start filing in. And when you get into this venue, you like go down these stairs and it's like an open room. They had like 3 section lines. Not sure why they had it this way, but they did. So me and Talon go down these stairs. One of the security officers starts yelling like, no running, like no running. And we're like, okay, so we're like walking, you know, but like at the same time we're trying to keep our place in line because girls start running past us. And before we know it, there was like 60 to 70 people in front of us in line instead of the original 20. So we go to where everyone was going who was ahead of us, which was right in the middle line. And at this point, I'm a little pissed off. I'll be honest, I was shaking. I was so angry. So all 3 lines are filled. And then security starts letting like little sections of each line go through, which is what really pissed me off. Because literally, like, I was there since 7 in the morning, and people who got there at, like, 3 are getting in before me, and, like, I can't get into it right now. It's, like, it still irks me. So after that whole ordeal, we finally make it through. We walk up to this big ramp that leads to the actual venue, and we are speed walking. Like, I ain't letting nobody else pass me. I am, like, speed walking up this bitch. So we like get into the venue and I'm scanning the stage and I see a little spot at the barricade that's almost right in front of Josh's drums and I make a beeline. I'm like, I am there, yes. So we get there, we get to our spot, it's all fine and dandy. I was happy. I got barricade at a 21 Pilots concert, which is like, I never in my wildest dreams would I dream would ever happen. So me and Talon like are standing there, we like calm down because we were both really angry at that whole like line thing. So Coleman Hell comes on, we dance our butts off because at this point we know more than one of his songs. Then the lights dim, the red spotlights come on, the red mic starts lowering, and it is game time again. Honestly, I had a much better time at the Calgary show than I did at the Saskatoon show, and I could tell that the boys did too. It was a much better crowd, much better atmosphere. I screamed louder than I ever have at any concert in my entire life. My voice was completely gone for like 3 days after it. The one line that I guarantee it blew my voice out was in Migraine. There's a line where Tyler goes, sometimes stay alive, you gotta kill your mind. I screamed my lungs out on that line, as I did on many others, but like that one was like the most brutal. I cried again during The Judge and during Car Radio and Goner, and again I was a mess by Trees. During Trees, Michael, who is their tour manager, walked up to me and Talon and hands us cards, like playing cards. And at the time, I didn't clue into what it was because I didn't really see that it was Michael because it was dark. Then I look at it for a second and I look over and then like a light bulb goes off in my head and I look over at Talon and I'm like, these are meet and greet cards. Trust me when I tell you, we held on to those cards for dear life. There were 2 moments that stood out for me during this set, and I will never forget them. One moment was right before Trees, and that's their finale song. Telly said something along the lines of trust me when I say this, and I don't say this every time, but the show has been very special, and Josh and I would love to come back if you'll have us. And I was like, yes, anytime, you're welcome back into my home at any point in my life, yes. The other moment was after they do their bow after Trees, and Tyler goes, we're 21 Pilots and so are you. He kept trying to say it, but he couldn't, and he was just smiling, and he couldn't get it out, and it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. So after the show, we kind of just stand at the barricade for a little bit and wait till a bunch of people clear out, and Andrew runs up to us, and he has the deck of cards in his hand, and we're like, what? And so he's like, oh, you guys have cards? Good. And I'm like, are these what I think they are? And he's like, those are meet and greet cards. And I was like, Gah! And Michael had given him the deck of cards to hand out. At that moment, I was like, I'm gonna be friends with Andrew for the rest of my life. He's got our backs. He thought of us to find us and make sure that we have meet and greet cards. Yes, Andrew, yes, you did true MVP. So then we kick around this venue for about an hour, and we're just sitting there hanging out. We had security guards come up to us multiple times being like, you guys can't be here, you gotta leave. And then we would whip out our cards and be like, yes bitch, we can, bye. Michael eventually walks up and basically explains the rules, and he says, you guys are only gonna be meeting Tyler. And of course that was a little bit heartbreaking for me, just because I love Josh so much and I would have loved to meet Josh even for just a millisecond. But either way, I was still super excited and I wanted to cry, but I was keeping my cool. We get into a line and I look at my phone, and my phone is at 5%. So at this point I'm freaking out internally. I'm like, what if my phone dies? That's gonna suck. We had to take both mine and Talon's pictures on my phone because her phone was dead. So Talon goes first because I asked her to go first. I wanted to go after her. And so she hands Michael my phone, and they take the picture, she walks off, and then Michael turns to me and he's like, you're up? And I look at Tyler and I'm like, I look at Tyler and I smile at him, and then he smiles at me, and then I walk up to him, and as I walk up to him, he's like, hi, how are you? And I was like, ow, my heart. But instead of saying good you like a normal human would, I was like, it's so nice to meet you. And he's like, it's nice to meet you too. And the softest voice I have ever heard in my life. He sounded like the human embodiment of a newborn puppy. So when I pictured this moment in my mind, I thought I would be shaking and crying, because whenever I meet someone that I'm a fan of, that's what happens. I shake really bad and I stutter over my words. When I met Markiplier, that I was a mess. When I met Griffin Ramsey, I was a mess. It's just very bad every time. But when I met Tyler, I was at peace, I guess. It's really hard to explain, but I was just calm. He felt like he was just a super close friend that I was comfortable with, I felt really safe. So when we take the picture and then I grab my phone from Michael, I turn to Tyler and I say in literally the most heartfelt and genuine voice I've ever used in my entire life, I was like, thank you so much. And he was like, yeah, of course, in his tiny puppy Tyler voice. And then as I'm walking away, Talon's like, Jen, the letter. And I was like, yeah, like I had it in my hand. I had the letter in my hand. And I didn't hand it to him. And so I was like, well, it's too late now. And so I walk up to Snyder, who's one of the crew guys, and I hand it to him. And I didn't even say anything to him because I was just like, I needed, really, I don't know, I was just like in shock or something. I didn't say anything. I just like, I handed it to him, but I feel like he knew. He was just like, like, so then we left the venue and we went home. And we didn't even stick around to say goodbye to Andrew because we're assholes. I know a lot of you may not understand why these boys mean so much to me, but they have gotten me through so much, including last summer when I was going through a really rough time, and the first couple months of 2016, where if you guys follow me on social media or if you guys are friends with me, you know what's happened there. They like made themselves present to me when I needed them the most. You know, like, I will never be able to thank them enough for all they've done for me. I'm so inspired by Tyler, like, a lot through his writing. You know, he's made me realize that it's okay to talk about stuff that a lot of the times people don't want to talk about or they're not comfortable talking about. And his words have helped me progress a lot as a writer. And he inspires me to become a better writer and just keep working and keep creating. And I look up to Josh a lot as a musician and also just as a person in general. His love and his passion for music really, really shows in every single performance that he does, and I think that's just amazing. And I hope to one day meet him so I can tell him how much that I admire him. Him and Tyler are the reason I like really started to pursue music. I've always wanted to make music. They made me believe that it was actually possible. And who knows, maybe one day I'll tour with them. Okay, I'm sorry this video was so long. Hopefully I'll cut it down so it's not as long, but right now it's like 45 minutes long. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you very, 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 very soon with new music. I promise. I am working on it right now. I promise. But I love you guys. Bye.